Hey guys, today we're going to be looking over a tier list of all wrestling promotions covered here on Wrestling's Bullshit. There will be a couple of promotions left off the list, but honestly, because I don't want to say anything negative about them, wrestling is subjective, and sometimes promotions simply aren't easy to watch if you're part of the American audience, and other times promotions simply struggle to stand out in a world full of insane amounts of wrestling promotions. So, yeah, I'm not looking to bash anyone's favorite flavor of ice cream here, if you will. Uh, I encourage you to comment if I left out a promotion that you thoroughly enjoy. Yeah, this is obviously just my opinion. Wrestling is subjective. But yeah, we all have our promotions that we follow. My goal with wrestling is bullshit has always been to cover promotions that are worth checking out while also keeping up with the mainstream scene. Throughout the tier list, I'm going to say something special about each promotion, but I'm also going to pull back the curtain a little bit and explain how I meticulously cover each tier promotions. Everything I do prioritizes a balance between mainstream and the facilitation of discovery. This is more than a tier list. You're going to have the information needed to expand your wrestling horizons. From casual WWE fan to pure sosu diehard fan, there's going to be something in here for everyone. Let's obviously start at the top. WWE has been on top of the mountain for decades now. Only recently has AEW been a real attempt to rival the corporate juggernaut. For a long time, WWE got comfortable. This caused many fans to venture out and find smaller wrestling promotions to watch. However, the days of WWE being nothing but cringe are behind us. Since the departure of Vince McMahon, Triple H and company have done their best to make WWE everything it can be. They've been on a roll lately, guys, facilitating things we would have never seen under Vince McMahon. WWE has even begun working with promotions like TNA, Pro Wrestling Noah, and the newly formed Marigold promotion. At the time of this recording, the Wyatt Six just debuted on WWE television, and Jacob Fatu just joined the new bloodline as well. It's a great time to be a fan, guys. There's no way around it. Don't miss out on what will always be remembered as a renaissance period for WWE. For those who are new to pro wrestling, because I know you guys are out there, shout out to Deporticus. I'm going to explain how you can be a fan of WWE. For those who are really new, so just bear with me for a second here. WWE has a premium live event about once a month. A premium live event is where championship matches normally take place and storylines are either heightened or finished. You can watch all premium live events with a monthly subscription to Peacock. Outside of that, WWE has two weekly shows, Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown. You could watch those shows on USA Network and Fox, respectively. Now, on to AEW, a fairly new promotion with a large financial backing. AEW looked to bring pro wrestling back to an American audience at scale. During their inception, WWE was highly nonsensical and borderline unwatchable. All Elite Wrestling should be the first viable competition that WWE has seen in decades. While they have made mistakes in their first 5 years, they've also facilitated some of the best pro wrestling that I've personally ever seen. They may not exactly be on the level of WWE, but they're definitely entertaining. You'll hear many fans of pro wrestling compare and contrast WWE and AEW. The truth is, they're both great in their own way. Honestly, I'm not even sure if WWE would care to be as good if they didn't have AEW gunning for their throne. AEW has made the world of pro wrestling a better place. Even if their product isn't for everyone, all you can do is give it a try. AEW has 9 pay-per-views every year. One of those pay-per-views is Forbidden Door, a collaborative show with New Japan Pro Wrestling. These AEW pay-per-views are unlike anything else in pro wrestling, with a heavy emphasis on bell-to-bell action. Their flagship show is called Dynamite, and it takes place every Wednesday on TBS. There's also Rampage and Collision, which take place on TNT almost every Friday and Saturday evening. If you're new to AEW, I recommend starting with Dynamite every Wednesday and then the pay per views, or when you can, honestly. That's the top of the mountain. Some would say that WWE is the pinnacle, of course, while AEW is somewhere below. In my opinion, AEW gives me just enough to stay as interested in their content as I do in WWE's. Many of you might disagree, and that's all right. Stick with WWE if that's really the only thing that interests you. Below our magnificent tier is our modest tier. There you go. These promotions aren't at the top, but they're pretty damn good. This is definitely an area where many diehard fans reside, as there's plenty of content to consume here. Let's start with the developmental brands of WWE and AEW. Those brands are, of course, NXT and Ring of Honor. NXT has been the official developmental brand of WWE for a little over a decade. This is where wrestlers who aren't this is where wrestlers who aren't quite ready for the big leagues can really hone in on their craft. NXT airs every Tuesday on the USA Network and has a handful of premium live events on the yearly calendar. Ring of Honor was acquired by AEW's owner in 2022. ROH has always been known to be a smaller scale show and gained respect from diehard fans over the years. Now, simply a proving ground for wrestlers, it is now. I don't know why I said that all crazy. It's a proving ground for wrestlers on AEW's humongous roster, is what I was trying to say. A monthly subscription to Honor Club will allow you to stream Ring of Honor every Thursday. And ROH only puts 3 premium live events on Honor Club every year. Up next is TNA. Total Nonstop Action has been around for over 20 years. As the pro wrestling scene has gone through ups and downs, TNA has been here to stay. TNA has actually begun collaborating with WWE's developmental NXT. You can catch TNA every Thursday with a monthly subscription to TNA Plus. That also includes their premium live events and pay-per-views, depending on which package you choose. There may be a situation where you get a package and you only get the TNA weekly show and the premium live events. But TNA does put on about 4 pay-per-views every year. All right, guys. Those 3 on the top are the American brands, and we're going to go international here on the bottom. We're actually going to start with New Japan Pro Wrestling. King of Sports is their tagline, and that they truly are. New Japan relies so heavily on a sports based presentation, the stories are dictated through the language of pro wrestling. Many American wrestlers continue to make a name for themselves in New Japan as the promotion crafts some of the world's toughest wrestlers. You can watch New Japan with a monthly subscription to njpwworld.com. A handful of times a year, they also put pay-per-views on in the United States. Next, CMLL is a lucha libre promotion out of Mexico. Consejo Mundial de Lucha Libre, or World Wrestling Council in English, has been around since 1933, making it the oldest active wrestling promotion in the world. CMLL's heritage and way of doing things is unlike anything else in wrestling. They run weekly shows out of multiple arenas in Mexico. They have 4 weekly televised shows, 2 on Tuesday, 1 on Friday, and 1 on Saturday. You can watch all of their televised shows with a monthly subscription to their YouTube channel, of course, based on which tier you pay for. To close out the modest tier, we have Revolution Pro Wrestling. Rev Pro is a British wrestling promotion that commonly collaborates with AEW, New Japan, and CMLL. To me, this union of four promotions covers all capital countries of wrestling: Mexico, Japan, the United States, and the United Kingdom. It's safe to say that WWE recently did a lot of damage to what's known as the British strong style scene, but RevPro is steadily rebuilding that scene back up. You can watch all RevPro shows with a monthly subscription to RevProOnDemand.com. Now that's the modest side of wrestling. Let's get into the mid pack. I know the term mid is so negative these days, but sometimes that mid pack be hitting though. There's some great wrestling in the middle of the pack on the reel. This will be the last tier that I go over before I explain the balance of coverage between all of these promotions. I've picked 3 international promotions and 3 American promotions, similar to the modest tier. Let's get into it, man. Let's start international for this one with Wrestle Universe. Wrestle Universe isn't a promotion. It's a streaming service that consists of several Japanese promotions. Of the several promotions that you could stream on Wrestle Universe, I really only recommend 4 of them: DDT Pro Wrestling and Pro Wrestling Noah exclusively feature men's wrestling. The newly formed Marigold as well as Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling exclusively features women's wrestling. WWE allows wrestlers to compete in Pro Wrestling Noah and Marigold. This isn't exactly necessary viewing if you're a WWE fan, but I definitely consider it a side quest. Up next is AAA or AAA. Before CMLL made their content more accessible for an American audience, AAA was all we had and it was great. Keyword was. I'll be one of the first to say it. AEW sort of gutted AAA's talent for themselves. While it's great that AEW has a great Lucha Libre presence, it's also sad to see how far AAA has truly fallen. Nonetheless, Triple Mania remains as a great side quest for diehard wrestling fans. Triple Mania is an annual 3-part pay-per-view sprinkled throughout the year, alongside a handful of other AAA pay-per-views. Closing out the international side of this tier, we have Progress Wrestling. Unfortunately, this is another promotion that has fallen from its glory days. Progress worked with WWE during what I consider to be a desolation of the British strong style scene. Wrestlers that made Progress Wrestling what it is now work for WWE. Regardless, Progress continues to have their place in this modern world of wrestling. You can watch Progress shows with a monthly subscription to progresswrestling.com. All right, guys, stay with me. We have 3 more American based promotions to roll out this whole list. The leader of that pack is Game Changer Wrestling. What was the hardcore style of the 90s is now the ultra violent scene that GCW provides. This spiritual successor to ECW steps it up a notch. These death matches are borderline disturbing to sit through sometimes. If you're into gore, then this is the promotion for you. You can watch all GCW shows with a monthly subscription to Triller TV Plus, formerly known as Fight. Up next is MLW, which also comes with a monthly subscription to Triller TV Plus. Major League Wrestling has honestly been hard to follow over the past couple of years. However, they finally have a consistent home to stream their shows on. They've also gotten away from producing weekly television and only air specials every month or so, or premium live events, we can call them. It's good to see a company getting away from weekly TV, as it makes for a much more enjoyable pace, in my opinion. Last but not least, we have sorry guys. Last but not least, we have the National Wrestling Alliance. It's wrestling as it's meant to be. The NWA fully embraces the style, pacing, and presentation of classic wrestling. Every Tuesday afternoon, the NWA takes you through an hour-long time capsule. Many wrestlers are able to flourish with this classic presentation that blends serious and silly. Admittedly, the NWA can be great fun. If you're an OG fan of wrestling, then don't skip out on the NWA. You can watch the NWA every Tuesday on the CW. All right. You still with me here, guys? If you're still here, man, pat yourselves on the back. I know this was a lot, and the odds that you retained all that information may not be great. If you're smart, you might wonder how I managed to find the balance in covering all these promotions without overwhelming all you guys. I'm going to get into that, and hopefully, through my explanations, you can formulate a process for the expanding of your horizons. Yay. As you noticed, there's 3 tiers to the list we just went through. Thus, every tier has a different capacity of coverage that I apply to wrestling is bullshit. The magnificent tier receives all 4 points of coverage. The 4 points of coverage are title changes, matches of significance, storyline beats, and being on the watch list. I keep you informed on all of those things with WWE and AEW. For the modest tier, we simply eliminate the storyline beats from the coverage. So you get title changes, matches of significance, and you'll see these shows on the watch list. Eliminating the storyline beats from the modest tier, the middle of the pack, or the second tier, makes it a lot easier for me to cover these promotions and facilitate you guys discovering these promotions without overwhelming you guys. You'll still see these promotions on the watch list, and I'll cover matches of significance, title changes, and what have you. But you're not fully invested in the shows. You're loosely keeping up with the shows if you watch the Wrestling is Bullshit report every week. So you can tune in for the one-off occasion. Like I'll tell you when somebody's defending their championship or when there's an interesting match, like a steel cage match, street fight, something like that. But that's about it. I don't want to overwhelm you with the storylines of Ring of Honor and NXT and what have you. So naturally, you can tune in for a show, but you don't have to follow every week. If you do tune into a show and you like what you saw, then you just found yourself a show to get into. There you go. And then lastly, of course, we have the mid tier. The mid tier will only get 1 point of coverage, and that point of coverage is title changes. Anything beyond championships changing hands on shows like GCW, AAA, Progress is going to overwhelm the shit out of you guys when I cover all these promotions, truthfully. At that point, I'm just like overwhelming you guys and informing you about shit that you probably don't care about. So if you see an interesting title change, let's say Joey Janela wins a championship for DDT Pro Wrestling, which you could of course watch in Wrestle Universe, then feel free to follow that championship reign. When the championship reign is over, when Joey Janela finally loses that DDT Extreme Championship, for example, you have a choice to make. Do I follow this promotion or do I stop watching? And you tried. You gave a show a try. Good for you. You may be wondering, why is this important? Why did I do all this? Why did I make this video? Why did I go into depth about to the nines how I choose to cover each caliber of promotions? And honestly, it's because I just see a lot of negativity out there, guys. I see a lot of pro wrestling fans not enjoying themselves and choosing to be negative, choosing to shit on a promotion that somebody else may like. And honestly, I don't blame you guys. That's just the way that the world is going with social media. People would rather point fingers and laugh and shit on people instead of hyping people up or enjoying something or being positive, right? Again, that's just the toxic culture that we live in these days. So for me, I feel like my place in all of this is not only keeping you invested in the pro wrestling shows, but also having something new for you to discover at all times. And with what do we got here? 14 promotions being covered. I think that's what I'm doing. So, enough with the negativity. I know this place is called Wrestling is Bullshit, but at the end of the day, I care about the fan base and I care about the culture. And I really am looking to be the opposition to what has become a lot of negativity. And I'm talking about people that just go to AEW shows and take pictures of empty sections for engagement. I'm talking about people that are only in it for WWE, which is fine. Like I'm glad that you enjoy WWE, but honestly, there's a lot of good wrestling out here for you to watch, and you should always be interested in expanding your horizons because dude, all of these promotions have such a different vibe and such a different feel. Like at the end of the day, it's pro wrestling. But I promise you, if you check out like CMLL, it's going to be unlike anything you've ever seen before. If you check out GCW, it's going to be like unlike anything you've ever seen before. So yeah, guys, why do I cover all these promotions? It's so you could stop bitching and enjoy pro wrestling. That's literally why. Always expand your wrestling horizons. If you ever feel like you're watching a promotion of yours and you're not enjoying the direction it's going in, or you feel like you could book it better, just shut your mouth and go find another show to watch or add another show to your arsenal, to your weekly watch list. That's all I'm here to do. So, as you could see, I do put a lot of thought into this. I look to curate a dynamic product with wrestling is bullshit. The future of wrestling is also going to continue to expand beyond WWE and AEW. My coverage will give you the tools you need to grow past the mainstream and embrace wrestling shows that do indeed deserve your attention. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope that you enjoyed this. And dear God, I don't look to overwhelm you or say that anybody's a fake fan. Like, if you enjoy any of these shows, even if it's just WWE, I'm happy for you. I'm happy you enjoy pro wrestling because obviously I do too. This is just something to help you guys out because honestly, when WWE wasn't doing it for me and AEW didn't exist yet, it was really hard to learn about all of these other promotions and how to watch them and why I should watch them and which ones I should watch. So here I am bridging the gap between mainstream and border. I wouldn't even say underground because every single one of these promotions on the list is pretty big and it's pretty accessible as long as you have the internet. Essentially, you can watch any of these shows and keep up with any of them. So yeah, that's it, guys. That's all I got in the script today. I hope you enjoyed this tier list and I hope you're able to expand your wrestling horizons. You guys are probably wondering, maybe you're not, what pro wrestling show do you enjoy watching? And I'm gonna tell you, of course, I love AEW as much as I love WWE, and I love WWE as much as I love AEW. Like to me, those two promotions entertain me in much different ways. And I don't really get into the WWE versus AEW banter. I think it's stupid. But outside of WWE and AEW, I really enjoy CMLL. I love Lucha Libre, and I think it puts less of an emphasis, the CMLL puts less of an emphasis on championships and more so just puts two luchadors in a ring and then rings the bell. Like it's very simple, very comical yet serious. I Out of all of these, I'd probably recommend CMLL just for fun. GCW is just so unique to the deathmatch wrestling scene. Like that shit is crazy. So yeah, I'll say CMLL, GCW, and then we'll add like Wrestle Universe to the list just because for one monthly price you can keep up with like four amazing promotions, even more than four amazing promotions. Those are just four promotions that I think deserve a shout out. There's plenty of other promotions on Wrestle Universe. I'll put it on the screen real quick before we get out of here. Where is it? There it is. So yeah. But yeah, guys, I don't know. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Super chill, super fun, and I'll catch you guys next time.